Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of CR Exposed. On today's episode we are looking at the Red Slaad from the D&D Monster Manual 2025 edition. Switching a little things up, trying out like the new name branding, brand name, whatever you want to call it. In any event, let's jump into this and take a look at the Red Slaad. So this is a large aberration, chaotic neutral if that matters for anyone, but we have what we have here. And we will go ahead and throw this in. It is a large monster, so we'll switch that up. And we're going to take a look at its AC, which is a 14. Nothing special there, but it is what it is. We do have the following 11 D10 hit dice, bringing us up to 60 at the moment, but after we put in all of its stats of 16 strength, 12 dex, 16 con, 6 intelligence, 6 wisdom, and 7 charisma, we'll see that we have the 93 here, like we have up here for the Red Slaad. Next, we will skip the rest of this. None of this matters except for the CR5, which we are expected to hit, and we do need that set in place because that will help us project some information about our monster and where it should be landing. Otherwise, things could be a little off. From there, we do have 2 traits, and we do have some, I don't know what you want to call this area, like monster features. We'll call it the features. We do have some resistances to acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder. So because we have 5, we can actually trigger this, and it is common enough magical damage that we could see some resistances here. So provided we have, what is it, like, of a group of 4, maybe 2 of those will have these types of damages. We will then half those. So obviously if we have a wizard or a sorcerer, a warlock, their damage will likely be cut in half if they are using straight elemental damage. So let's go ahead and throw that in. We have the resistance there for our CR5 Red Slaad, and then we have some other stuff of senses, languages. None of that makes any difference to our CR. We only care about the resistances or immunities if we had them. From there, we are then moving on to the magic resistance, and as always, the magic resistance is going to be... hold on. So we'll move on to the magic resistance, and we will see that our Slaad has magic resistance and regeneration. So let's see here. We will go ahead and add in magic resistance, which gives us a +2 effective AC bonus, as we'll see here. And then we have regeneration of 10 hit points at the start of each of its turns, as long as it has 1 hit point. So this kind of stops the whole, hey, we need a special type of damage, to this of holy or a critical. As long as it has 1 hit point, it will regenerate. And then once it's dead, it no longer regenerates, which is a nice little workaround. I really do appreciate that. So this gives us a total of 30 effective hit points over the lifetime of the 3 rounds of combat, but we are getting back 10 hit points every round, which, if you're like me, you'd likely need to remember to do that. Now we'll move down into the actions area. Now that we're done with our features and traits, we do have the multi-attack. The Slaad makes 3 injecting claw attacks, and that's it. So our injecting claw attacks come from the strength here, so we'll go ahead and add in the 6 for that. And then from there, we do have a reach of 10 feet, and hit. We do 10 damage, so this is 10 even, because we have... And I say even because we have an even number of dice. We don't have to worry about like an extra half a die or a half a point of damage. And then if the target is a humanoid and not cursed by a Slaad, it is subjected to the following effects. They make a con saving throw, DC 14, failure. They're cursed and unaware, and a minuscule Slaad egg is implanted in it. Removing the curse destroys the egg. So over so much time, they will end up, having some stuff happen to them. But for that point, we just have 10 points of damage. We don't really need to worry about the curse because, ironically, in D&D, curses don't really make much difference in the short run of the game. In the long run, they certainly do make a difference and will make an impact here or there. So we do have a multi-attack of 3 of these injecting claws, and, potentially having a whole bunch of Slaad babies injected into the host. And that's pretty much it. So we'll go ahead and throw this into the concentration, because concentration does every round of combat. And since we are just attacking every round of combat, this is saving me time. And we end up with a CR6. So at the moment, we are seeing that we are supposed to have a CR5 for our Red Slaad, which obviously means that we are a little overdone somewhere. And because our monster here is getting resistances from 5 sections, we're only getting those from magic and not from regular attacks, which, you know, would be bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, or any other damages that were not listed, such as poison, surprisingly enough, disease, holy, force, thunder. No, thunder's there. Never mind. So there's a few other items that actually surprisingly aren't resistant by the red Slaad, or resisted by the red Slaad. So let's take a look here. First of all, our first thing I always like to do is remove the resistance, because more than likely the caster will switch to a different type of damage, be it, like I said before, poison, force, psychic if they have it, disease-based, necrotic, you know, whatever. So let's see what happens with our Slaad once we get rid of resistances. We actually shift down to a CR5. That's good to see, which means, I guess in theory, our monster here, or the designers, didn't expect these to be taken into account, or, you know, the resistances weren't actually expected to be hit, and the developers actually reduced it to a CR5 after bypassing resistances, which is great to see. Technically, our Slaad here is a 4.5 CR. Now, I always round up. Most people say, hey, D&D is all about rounding down with damages and healing. Well, that's damage and healing. This is calculating monsters. I round up. It doesn't say in the rules not to round down, so therefore I round up. So regardless, if we round down, we're at a CR4, or naturally a CR4.5, because we have a 4 for our offenses and a 5 for our defenses. The average is 4.5. So if we want to adjust this Slaad ever so slightly, we just give it a little bit more damage. So at the moment, we are rolling around with 2d6 plus 3 piercing damage. We could throw in an extra, you know, poison damage, a d4 poison damage, just for the sake of things. Let's see what happens if we do that. So we're going to add in 2.5 points of poison damage. Actually, first of all, let's just do this so we can play around here. We're going to add in the 2.5 from our d4 up here. We're going to add that into our attacks. So we'll add in the 2.5 here, and then we see that this adjusts everything else in the tool, and our monster now becomes a flat CR5. So really off the bat, bypassing resistances, and like I said, a caster is going to say like, oh, hey, this didn't work, let me try another one. But because there's so much against the caster, it's good to see that the CR was adjusted for non-resistant damages and whatnot. So in the long run here, all we really need to do is just add a d4 to the attacks, and we have ourselves a red Slaad soldier, as I would call it. You know, someone that isn't too high in its defenses or its offenses and is right on the mark, as we can see here. So there we go. That has been the red Slaad. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you like what I've done here and you'd like to get this tool completely for free for yourself to use to make perfectly balanced monsters, or check monsters that I haven't checked here on the channel yet, you can do so by going into my Ko-fi link in the description below, where you can get the tool, like I said, completely for free, or you can donate if you feel so inclined to. You can also help and support the channel by becoming a channel member, by becoming a Ko-fi supporter, or by buying one of the various things at my store on Ko-fi as well. I have currently I have 3, maybe 4, and I think I might be working on a 5th, actual classes for Dungeons & Dragons, as well as Tales of the Valiant. Subclasses, which some are serious and some are fun, and a bunch of monsters. Other than that, you can like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends, and that's super cool, awesome. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.